Panda 1-6, Panda 1-6, this is Badger 2-2, come in, over.
Badger 2-2, this is Panda 1-6, send traffic, over.
Roger, E4 Mafia is a go. I say again, E4 Mafia is a go.
Roger that, execute.
The guy stood up and he was like, "Why are you always picking on me?" And you just see it. I was our knowledge hat.
Yeah, it was very boring. I fell asleep one time while I was in prone, so
A quick nap in, how tight like a cape, and he had him with a lollipop. And he was sitting there spinning it, and he was like banging on the ground. "You shall not pass," from like Lord of the Rings. Yeah. My mom was saying my whole goal for right now is just to beat this drill instructor. Yeah, I run past him, and I just hear this like this like pterodactyl screech. I run past him. He's like, "Ah!"
Good.
Yeah, man, I'm good. Repping the 1-6.
I see that,
You know
man.
what I'm saying? Got the hoodie on.
I can't find mine.
I don't know if you can fit yours still either. I know my old ones I can't. I had to order this one.
No, I can't fit.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to the E4 Mafia Podcast. This is going to be the episode 1. It's going to be about Marine Corps boot camp. My name's Alan.
My name's Mike.
We're both Marines. We're going to get into it a little bit about what to expect for Marine Corps boot camp.
Yep.
First episode, brother.
Yeah.
Excited?
Oh, yeah.
I am
Most
too.
definitely.
Let's go into MEPS just briefly.
Yeah. It's a long due process, you know. You go through a lot of different things, paperwork, and then your ASVAB, and tiring process. So, you know, that's the only thing you can prepare for is everything's in a hurry. So,
Yeah, it's more a lot of medical stuff and all that.
yeah.
So, you know, once you guys get through that, then you'll be going to boot camp. So it's going to be week 1, receiving week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how much you remember about receiving week. The one thing I remember is no sleep.
Yeah.
Very little sleep.
Yeah. Definitely.
I want to say it's almost like the Crucible before the Crucible.
Yeah. It's a little taste.
It's the paperwork or Pogue.
Yeah.
Crucible before the Crucible.
Yeah.
But I remember getting on the bus, arriving late, and then the drill instructor getting on the bus and screaming, and you're like, "Whoa, what did I get into?"
Yeah.
Then we get on the infamous yellow footprints.
Yep.
And then you pass the hatches. You're getting screamed at the whole time. Receiving week, guys, all it is just setting up your paperwork. It's getting all your banking information, getting all your miscellaneous gears issued, your go fasters or your running shoes, uniform, stuff like that, shaving material. I think that's not yet, is it?
No, not yet. No.
Just your basic stuff then.
Yeah, it's your basic stuff. Your uniforms, your go fasters, like you said, during that time, and then you don't have that. All your personal stuff is put away. You don't get that back until later.
Right.
You know.
There's one thing about it. You get a phone call home.
Yes.
And you said we talked about it before, bro. Tell them what your first experience
so my
was like.
first they allow you to get one phone call home, and then as you're lined up, I can't remember. It's like 4 or 5 pay phones. I'm pretty sure they still have those same pay phones.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know what pay phones are, they're old school telephones. They're wired into a service. But anyways, everybody lines up. They're screaming at you. So you got 3 or 4, maybe 5 drill instructors at each, one at each line. They have this little card on the wall, and it tells you what to say and how to say it in order.
Yeah.
So with me, when I got up there, I called home, but nobody answered. And so while they were screaming at me, I was just trying to make sure I do everything right and doing it in a hurry.
Yeah.
I tried it again, but I act like I was calling and talking to somebody.
So you didn't call
I
anybody.
didn't call anybody. Nobody picked up the phone when I called, but it was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when I got there or something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure, mom and dad wasn't awake anyway. So
I don't know, dude. Mom and dad stay up pretty late.
that's true. Yeah.
So you pretended your phone call home.
So I pretended my phone call home. I didn't really talk to nobody.
That's such a get over and done with it.
Yeah.
Recruit thing to do.
Yeah.
Mine was no one picked up from the house. I was getting screamed at because I think my last name was Yee. I was one of the last people. And, that's when the drill instructors their lines are done.
Yeah.
So they're all ganging up on you.
Yeah.
And I remember mom didn't answer. I called her twice. And then I was like, who should I call next? I didn't want to call my recruiter, and I called Grandma.
Yeah.
And I knew the only reason I called Grandma is because I knew her answer machine. You can play it back, and I knew she'd listen to her. So I knew they would be like, okay, Alan got there safe.
Yeah.
But I called her, this is recruit so-and-so. I made it here safely. Please don't send anything, blah, blah, blah. And in the background, you just hear, get off the phone.
Yeah.
Disgusting little thing, get off the phone. And I'm sure when Grandma was like, I probably should have just left Mom and Dad a voicemail. But
Yeah. I don't know why you didn't.
I mean, cell phones were, that was kind of like, how it went through. So
Yeah.
I went through from 15 to 19.
And then I went through in 2005 through 2009.
Another little thing for receiving is your haircuts.
Yep.
Yeah, so you get your haircut with those guys. I think it was like, dude, they have to be pissed off, dude. I think it was like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning when they cut my hair. And they have to be there waiting for us all day. I mean, they're getting paid, but like, dude, they do not care.
Imagine how many recruits go through that in one day.
But it's not like, so you guys go get a haircut, nice and easy. You pay for them. They're talking to you.
Yeah.
These guys they're not military. They're like, get over here, sit down, put this cape on. They're like, they don't even tie it. They just throw it over you, and then they get these little clippers and they go, vroom, 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 and they just shaving the crap out of your head.
There's no guards on the clippers.
No.
They're just old grumpy men who's been doing this for years.
Dude, it's terrible, man.
It is.
I remember one kid got cut because he had a mole. You're supposed to tell them they're supposed to be careful with it.
Oh, yeah.
They still cut them and whatnot. So after you guys get all that done, I think, dude, I probably got maybe 4 hours of sleep in like a 2-day period.
Yeah.
I was up for a while.
4 hours, yeah, at most.
I was probably up for almost like 3 because you're up that morning traveling over there, 7-hour drive from Georgia.
Yeah.
Or 6.5, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then you get there and then you're up for almost 36 hours straight.
Yeah.
So you're tired. That's why we say that's why I was saying it's more like the paperwork or the admin crucible that you go through the first day or the first couple days you're there.
Yeah.
So then you get your drill instructors, receiving drill instructors. I didn't know this at the time, but those are not your actual drill instructors. Those are your receiving drill instructors. You don't get your active drill instructors till later.
Yeah.
So I was like, I remember getting to our barracks, which is your actual barracks where you're going to be at. And then they were teaching us how to make our beds a little bit and all this other stuff, getting you ready to get prepared. He's yelling a little bit. You have time to go to the head.
Yeah.
Like you have time, but it's not like what you're about to experience.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this ain't so bad.
Right.
Like I can do this.
Yeah.
That's okay. And then, phase 1 is whenever it's receiving week and all that. It's the first 3 weeks. And you get your drill instructors. I remember mine came up. This is like, they did the senior drill instructor speech. And then as soon as he's like ready, get up online, tells you, and then they did the chaos.
Yeah.
And I remember just, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Why did I sign up for this?
As soon as the senior introduces himself and then he introduces his, what we call kill hats, right after that, it's just straight up chaos. Like they're like bulldogs off of off their leash, basically.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I just remember there was the day one we got our drill instructors, our actual drill instructors. Obviously, they're throwing our shit everywhere.
Yeah.
They're throwing your everything.
Yeah.
Everything you just set up with your receiving drill instructor to make it perfect, it's just trash.
Yep.
So you're running around. I remember this one guy, an older guy. I mean, he had to be at least, I say older for for me when I was I was just turned 18.
Mm-hmm.
I had the waiver for 17 years old, and I remember the guy stood up and he was like, "Why are you always picking on me?" And you just see it. I was our knowledge hat. We had 4. Yeah, I know you said you had 3.
3.
We got lucky, had 4.
So we had our senior and our 2 kill hats.
Yeah. So
So
we had the senior, the drill hat, the knowledge hat, and our kill hat.
Yeah.
Which the knowledge hat acted as a second kill hat. The
Yeah.
drill hat was a kill hat, but he was more like on his way. I think he was about to be. He had like 1 or 2 more cycles before he became a senior.
Okay.
So he was still trying to do the kill hat and all that, but he was kind of trying to transition into being a senior.
Yeah.
He had been there for so long. But I remember he stood up to the knowledge hat or the drill hat and was like, "Why are you guys always picking on me?" And you just saw the other 2 drill instructors just like you're talking about, they're foaming at the mouth about to destroy this kid.
Yeah.
I just remember he went like this. He held his both arms out and he was like, "Stop. we're picking on you? Yeah, you're always picking on me. Tight. Go over there and sit down or whatever he said. That kid was fucking dropped.
That day?
Out of the Marine Corps, yep.
Wow.
And I know I've told you this story, but so they know, dude. He was we saw him on graduation, the one of the last weeks.
Yeah,
we saw him walking around because he had to be medically cleared and all that.
Right.
So basically, he went through boot camp for how long, just sitting there, still being yelled at.
Sitting there through boot camp.
Yeah, when he could have just sucked it up and became a Marine. You know? But yeah, they kicked him out that day.
That's crazy.
Wild.
That is crazy, dude.
What was yours like whenever you first got your drone? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember bits and pieces. Yeah, so it was chaotic. I'm pretty sure it was chaotic for everybody. You know, in the first few weeks during that phase, you're getting the introduction of, you know, the Marine Corps and how it all works, and you know they're just trying to get into your head to see how you're gonna break. You know, so it all depends on you as an individual. But yeah, dude, it was I don't remember both of my kill hats, but their names. But I know one was Sergeant Sanchez, and then I had my senior was Staff Sergeant Watson. I think that it was so long ago. But yeah, it was I mean, we had various and different walks of life that joined, you know, and then there was one dude who had a waiver. I think he was at the time 34 years old.
Damn.
So we called him the old man of the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
You know, because he decided to, you know, do something with his life, he said, and he wanted to join the Marines. I was like, that's crazy. To be 34 and going through boot camp, I don't know if I could do that.
I mean, shit.
Right now, I couldn't even
I'm about to be 29 here this year, and I'm like, no, I couldn't. I wouldn't want to go through boot camp again. So after you get your drill instructors, you go through phase. I mean, it's still phase one. So you guys go through. They do the mixed martial arts. They do their physical fitness test, which is the PT test, and then they do 2 hikes. They do the 5K and 8K hike.
Yep.
Within the phase one, which for me, like hiking wasn't a problem. I was pretty good at hiking. I don't know how it was for you.
It was tough for me. We had the old school rack.
The Alice packs?
Yeah, the Alice pack. So there's a metal framing on it.
There's a lot of guys in the fleet that actually changed to the Alice packs. They said they liked it better.
They might have. You know, I didn't know, you know, the difference. At the time, I didn't even know what the Alice pack was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I just remember they said this is our packs, and we're shoving everything in it. The humps I hated because I'm shorter, and they always put the tallest in the front when we're humping, and so it's like every 2 or 3 strides for me was like one for them. So I was continually running almost or lightly jogging on my humps.
Yeah, it was worse because at the beginning for a while I was the guide throughout boot camp, so I had to carry my rifle plus the guide arm.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is awkward to walk with.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah. But humping wasn't bad for me. I mean, even when I got to the fleet, I could hike better than I could run for sure. Like you put 150 pounds on my back, I'm good for long distances when it doesn't bother other people. Yeah. You asked me to run 3 miles, I'm gassed.
Yeah. Yeah, I was complete opposite.
Yeah. I mean, there's different walks of people like to go through it. So then after that, they go to phase 2. Week 4 is swim week. I don't know if you remember too much about swim week.
I remember a little bit, but not much, no.
The recruits go through basic swim qualifications. I remember we had to do tread the water, jump from a high board. We had to like get all our gear off in the pool. It's like the pulley system and a fake gun.
Yeah.
Do certain laps around or certain whatever times laps through the pool. The high board dive with your pack, along with without one. I remember the iron ducks. That's what iron ducks are. What they call people that can't swim. Yeah. So I remember. I think the hardest part for me was treading water. I think you got to tread water for like 20 minutes in full camis or boots and boots.
I think it was less
full
than
camis.
Yeah, full camis. Yeah,
it's hard. The boots is what's crazy. But they also do teach you how to inflate your blouse when it's wet and your trousers. Use that as a life jacket kind of thing. Yeah, can't do that when you're treading water, obviously, but you learn some good stuff. If you guys fail swim week, if you guys are going to go through and thinking about going through, and you can't swim, go practice. If you fail, You get a redemption. You get a remedial thing where you have to go for another day or two or day and a half to try to pass the test. After that, you get dropped. Getting dropped is when you go to the platoon behind you. So you have to do, instead of doing the whole, the minimum amount of weeks for, was it 13 weeks for boot camp?
Yeah.
Then you might have to do 14 or 15 because you got to get dropped to reduce swim qualifications. And if you keep failing, then goodbye.
Yeah, that goes same for your PTs and your PFTs.
Yep.
So if anything that any obstacles or any sessions that you fail, and they give you a remedial. If you fail it again, then you get dropped, meaning you get back. They send you back to the prior platoon that's still in a earlier phase, and then you have to go through all those cycles again with them and try it again.
Yeah, so try your best not to get dropped. If you're thinking about going through and you listen to the podcast, practice.
Yeah.
Practice swimming. Maybe get some running.
I thought I was a great swimmer until
I mean, we grew up we had a river. You
Yeah.
know, Dad always took us to the river and stuff like that.
but
So
swimming in camis is tough. So.
boots. It's the boots for me, man. Like, I'm a good swimmer. I can swim,
I
but
thought I was.
yeah, you didn't know. So after swim week, that's week 4. You go to week 5, which is team week, and whenever you guys go through, you're going to be split up into 3 squads, sometimes 4. No, it is 4 squads. Yeah, because it's 4 ranks.
Yeah.
So it's 4 squads, and then you got your guide. Each squad within that might get broken up. Might be like first squad for Monday, second squad and third squad for Tuesday, fourth squad for Wednesday, and then like 1 and 4. Well, you know, however it works out.
Yeah.
But they'll go and they will go through what is called team week, and all they do is they do like miscellaneous cleaning details, laundry. I remember I got staffed to do some like office building, and we ended up. It was like a group of like 6 of us, and we ended up sleeping in the little janitor closet.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
After we cleaned it, and then we cleaned everything, we we're like, "What do we do now?" There was no one there.
Yeah.
And we were like, "Let's just go to sleep till someone finds us, or we'll have like a sentry that goes out, a little guard that goes out and looks for people."
Yeah.
And I remember the drill instructor came in there. He was like, "What the fuck you guys doing? Get up, get your asses out here!" And we was like, "Yes, sir, aye, sir," and then got out there.
Yeah.
It wasn't our drill instructor, but he told us, he was like, you guys are gonna get fucked up. Watch, I'm gonna let them know. Nothing ever happened, thank God. But we were so tired. We were dog tired.
Yeah.
And then the other one was I got to go to the actual Marine chow hall and work there.
Okay.
We had to clean up. It was only for like an hour, clean up real quick, but it was like amazing to see the difference.
Yeah.
Of our chow hall versus theirs.
Yeah.
Do you remember what yours was like?
Mine was I remember bits and pieces, but I think I had laundry duty, and so you know when we did laundry, they always shoved it in the laundry bags.
Yep.
And you washed it all at once.
Yeah.
You know, so we
Then
did
they wonder
that.
why we stink.
Yeah, right. It smelled like spoiled socks or
Smell like
whatever.
recruits.
Yeah, it definitely stank. But that was mine, and then we had to clean the I think it was the wash station outside. I don't remember if that's what it was called, but we had outside and between the barracks, they had these long sinks, I guess you can call them, with water spouts, and we wash stuff at. I think we had to scrub those or something like that.
Since mine was we went to the chow hall. What chow hall is like for recruits?
Yeah, so just like anything, while you're in, everything's in a hurry, in order, and you get whatever they give you, right? So, and they feed you 3 times a day, so you get fed. You won't go hungry,
No.
right? But yeah, there are certain rules about a certain amount of fluids inside your cup. It had to be at mine. I believe mine was it wasn't at the top, but it was a line.
Before the top.
Yeah, before the top, you only could fill it up to there. If it was past it, they'd make you dump it out and you eat without something to drink. So yeah, that'd have been perfect.
Damn.
Yeah. Then you had to, when you sat down, you had to sit up straight. Your left hand on your left knee, and it doesn't matter if you're left-handed or right-handed. You have to eat with your right hand, right? You sit up straight, look straight ahead, and you get your utensil, and then you pick up the food and bring it to your mouth. Your head do not go to the food, and that's how you have to eat.
I feel like it gets more relaxed as you go through. But
Yeah.
the craziest thing was me. It was since I was the guide. You know, the guide has to be done when by the time the first person that sat down and started eating, the guide had to be done at the same time.
Right.
And when the guide's done, that means the whole platoon's done.
Yes.
But the guide sits down last.
Yep.
So you have to eat pretty quick. I remember because I also had to make sure next two recruits attack chow. Mm-hmm. Tell them that. And then they have to say the ditty. Step together, face together, step.
Yeah.
And then they step through, and then you sidewalk. You side shuffle. And then the lunch ladies are pretty nice. They weren't really mean.
No.
And then they were just putting stuff on. And then because I was a fat body, I couldn't have any sweets.
Yeah.
And then we couldn't have any desserts.
I don't even remember desserts.
Because you couldn't really have them the first phase. You can't really, for mine, you couldn't have them until your third phase. However, they made an exception. There was this kid named Denny.
Oh, okay.
Dinn. Was it Y or EY? One of the two. Skinny as all get out.
Yeah.
Like turn sideways, disappear. You know.
Dang.
So they were saying they made all the squad leaders and me. They made us get desserts, and he had to eat all of it.
Everybody's.
Not everybody.
Just squad leaders in the
mine.
guide. Okay.
Yeah. And if he still wasn't gaining weight, that's when they kept adding more people.
Dang. That skinny?
Yeah.
Dude.
Like okay, we're not allowed to have protein bars.
Yeah. Well,
right?
No, we're not. We weren't allowed, but we had them.
Right.
For
People
certain.
send them.
Yes.
Right. And so they would send care packages with protein bars because I guess that's what they tell them that you can send them.
Yeah.
So they would also have Denny up there at night. The senior drill instructor would be like, Denny, eat 5 protein bars. He's sitting up there eating. He had to be sick.
So they would never throughout the whole time they wouldn't give you any?
It depends if we did well.
Okay. Yeah.
Then sometimes it was senior drill instructors it's daddy. Like,
yeah, basically.
Like he has the power to take the kill hats, get inside, whatever he says goes.
Yeah.
He's more of the sit down mentor kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also if you piss him off or disappoint him, he turns into it. He wasn't kill hat before, so he turns into that little monster again.
Yeah.
But if we ever did good, or like we knew we had like sometimes later in the phases when we had a hike coming up or something like that the night before, he might give us, tell the scribe to pass them all out.
Yeah.
And then you get a little protein bar at the end of the night.
Same here. Yeah.
But then I'm pretty sure they just ate them all.
We had a footlogger full of.
Yeah, we didn't. I know we had a shit ton because they sent all the parents kept sending them.
Yeah.
By the end, they'd give away everything whenever you're about to leave.
Yeah.
There was maybe a footlocker left, so I know the damn drill instructors were sitting there eating that shit.
Of course.
Which whatever. We couldn't have them, so it doesn't matter.
I remember when I was at one point a scribe as well, and I was in charge of the roster for your Firewatch.
Oh,
throughout
that guy.
Yeah, and so I always, whenever I was in charge of everything inside that room with the footlocker full of stuff,
and all the stuff.
So I always snuck something out for the Firewatch people.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking. Dude, our scribe was a dick, dude.
And I even ate some.
Okay, guys, listen. If you go to boot camp, try to be. Even if you don't like the guy, just be professional and friendly with the scribe.
Yeah.
If he has power over Firewatch, you won't know it till you're there. You want first or last Firewatch.
Yeah.
You don't want to be waking up in the middle of the night, or you don't want to be second or third, because then you have to wake up. You have to go to sleep for an hour, wake up, do another Firewatch, then go back to sleep. It's terrible. So try to get friends with him. Our guide, he ended up getting fired, or not our guide. Our scribe ended up getting fired, and we got another one, which was an older guy, now I think he looks like a fucking pedophile, but he was but he was a nice dude. He was a nice dude though. But he was fair.
You can't say that.
He's a
nice
like one
dude.
He just looked like one, man.
Okay.
Like shaved head and like
Everybody
like a big head, skinny face, like a icky bot, like a slender bot. You know what I mean? Like somebody you wouldn't want to stand next to for a long period of time.
Yeah.
But he was a cool dude. He made it fair where we just rotated.
Yeah.
So we would rotate unless the drill instructor was like, put that little bitch on Firewatch.
Yeah.
And then you have to do it. But back to the chow, the one thing that when you have to, good morning, ladies, good morning, gentlemen. Because you have to hold your arms at a 90 degree angle when you got your tray. Your cups have to be 90 degree, like you're drilling.
Yeah.
You have to scream, good morning, ladies, good morning, gentlemen. And if you don't, you get screwed up, you get messed up.
Yeah.
And then I know I've told you this story, but, I didn't realize I had a best friend when we were growing up. His name was Bud. And you don't get called by your last name in boot camp or your first name in boot camp. It's only your last name.
Yeah.
And I remember I was in phase 1 still, and I forgot that he had already shipped out.
Yeah.
Right. I forgot that he was even there.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even have thought that I would see him.
Right. Yeah.
But I remember I was getting my drink and I was walking back to my table, and I think he was just getting his food to go to the table or whatever, or maybe vice versa. And he was like, all I heard was, Alan. I looked up. I was like, who the hell is calling? Who knows my first name? I look up. I see him third phase, boots, blouse, looking like a Marine. Not a Marine yet, but looking like one. And I just remember, like, after being in boot camp, it was like, damn, dude, what am I doing here? Like this, why would I volunteer for this? Looking up and seeing that familiar face and hearing my name and seeing him and us exchanging a quick smile because you can't smile.
Right.
And it maybe was 3 seconds.
Yeah.
But it felt like an hour.
Yeah.
You know, it felt like
I bet.
I looked up and I was like, yo, my boy's here. And he's in third. Dude, it gave me all the motivation. I was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I wasn't quitting in the first place, but I was definitely like, little Igor, you know, just like, damn, I don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
But it was probably a really good point throughout my boot camp process that made me where it was like tight. Like, yeah, I got this.
Right.
So that was good. But moving on, spent a little bit of time on that, a little bit more stories. Then you got week 6 and week 7. Week 6 is grass week.
Yep.
So grass week, you're going to get introduced to your, what are they called? Coaches. You're going to get introduced to your shooting coaches, and they're not drill instructors. They're going to be more of, you know, kinder. They're not yelling at you. They're talking to you normally. Mm-hmm. And it's because they want you to learn this fundamental, because every Marine's a rifleman because of this, and whenever we talk about SOI and all that, they're teaching you. But grass week is nothing but dry fire.
Yep.
And learning the fundamentals.
Yeah.
Right. There's this barrel out in the middle of the field, and you sit there, and the targets are painted on it. The different targets you have to shoot at, the circle, the dog, and the person target, whatever it's called. And you're sitting there dry firing, just practicing for a week straight.
Yeah. I remember we were all like laying down and prone in a circle,
going through the
aiming at this stupid white barrel with all these targets on there.
Yeah. Then
you had to go through different stances, from prone, sitting, kneeling. It was very boring. I fell asleep one time while I was in prone, so
quick nap in.
Yeah, because the sun was out. You know, we were tired already.
I mean, it's not like you get a break from your drill instructors. After you get done with your coaches for the day, you go back to your drill instructor, still get messed up.
Yeah. But it was a nice little break from the drill instructors. Yeah,
definitely. You kind of getting treated. It's kind of like a reality check. You get back to seeing how people talk to you normally.
Yeah.
But you also are like, when they tell you, all right, I'm not your drill instructor, and they have like corporal chevrons on. Yeah. You know what I mean? And they have these little stupid safari hats on. You're like, what's going on? Yeah. And then they're like, I'm not going to yell at you. Like, we're not here. If you mess up, just let me know. We'll fix it. And you're like, yeah, fuck no, I ain't telling you if I mess up.
You're like, yes, sir.
Yeah,
he's like, calm down.
He's like, you guys understand? And then you're like, yes, sir. He's like, stop screaming. Yeah. It's like, just say yes, sir, just calmly. And that's when we're like, after like the first day, or we're like, okay, this guy's telling the truth.
Yeah.
But after grass week, you go to range week, and that's when you actually shoot your weapons. Mm-hmm. And there's three courses of fire. You have your kneeling. Well, there's 3 kneeling positions. So you fire your kneeling. I think it's from the 200 or 300.
I think it's
200. And then you have your sitting, which is at the 3. And then you have your prone, which is at the 500.
Yeah.
No, you shot iron sights, right?
Yes.
So we were the first company to go through with ACOGs.
Really?
The what do you call it?
Okay.
Not the ACOG. What is it called? You know, it looks like, I guess it is an ACOG. Yeah. So we were, I'm pretty sure that's what they told us. Like, we were you guys are lucky, blah, blah. You guys are one of the first people to go through boot camp with it. However, we still learn the fundamentals for iron sights.
Yeah.
So,
so y'all are trained with the chevron inside.
Trained with the chevron, but we also trained on iron sights as well.
Okay.
Because those were your backups if something happened. So you had to learn.
Oh, so you had those.
Yeah.
On your body.
Yeah. So like the front sight post was still fixed on it.
Right. But I'm talking about your rear.
The rear sights, if they're big enough, if you flip up, you can see them.
Oh, okay.
through the scope.
Okay. No, ours was the old school handle rear sight. It wasn't a flip rear sight.
Wait, now that I think about it, it might have been on top of the handle.
Okay.
Damn, dude, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's been a while. But yeah.
But I know we shot with the ACOGs.
Yeah, we went
So
through with iron sights.
There's two. There's also, once you get through your 200, 300, 500, you go through, you split the group up into two, the pits and the shooters, and then you flop.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember the pits, just to explain, the pits, the targets down whenever you guys are shooting are manually operated by recruits. Okay? The biggest thing for it is for whenever they do whenever you pull the target up and they shoot it, you can hear what it sounds like when it breaks the sound barrier hitting something.
Yeah.
You hear that crack. You hear that pop. So that's one, and they're shooting right over your head. There's a big berm. You're not going to die. It's not going to ricochet and kill you.
Yeah.
But there were like bullets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The actual brass bullets that hit something just laying there on the ground, past the red line or whatever. But the recruits are in there pulling the pits and all that. You'll learn all that if you go through. And I remember there's these things called lollipops. You know, lollipops, and it tells them how you score whenever you shoot. It tells the score where you hit. And I remember one of the recruits, they were all in a shack at the end, and in the pits there are drill instructors. Someone has to watch you. Yeah. So they're fucking with you.
Yeah.
I remember we were trying to go get all of our stuff, and he had one recruit, the first recruit, come out, and he had him. I think he had a Gore-Tex on because it was raining. Mm-hmm. He made him unzip it and like somehow tie it like a cape, and he had him with a lollipop. And he was sitting there spinning it, and he was like banging on the ground. "You shall not pass," from like Lord of the Rings. Yeah. And he's sitting there messing with us, man. It was funny now to look back at it. Like even then, we were like, "Did you see what happened, bro? That was funny as hell." Yeah. I always said, man, Marine Corps the Marine Corps boot camp is probably one of the funniest places you cannot laugh.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
Have to keep your bearing.
Yep.
So I thought it was pretty funny. I remember I shot, what was it, marksman? It was sharpshooter, marksman, and then expert. Yeah. And I shot marksman.
Yeah.
What did you?
I shot marksman as well. I didn't get expert until I got in the fleet.
There's that video where it's the old video of it's like a black drill instructor, a white drill instructor talking to a black recruit, and he's like, he goes up to him, he's like, "Oh, I know," and he goes up to him, he's like, "What'd you shoot on the rifle?" Yeah. Right. Yeah. And he goes, "What is it? Sharpshooter, sir." And the sharpshooter is a box. They call it a pizza box.
Pizza box. And
he's like, "Imagine that." And he puts up one hand, and the other drill instructor puts it there. He's like, "Pizza box." Yeah. Imagine that. He's like, "Didn't you?" "Yes, sir." Yeah. That was funny. So after you get through week 7, which is grass week or shooting range week, that's the end of phase 2, and then week 8 is the beginning of phase 3. Phase 3 allows you to blouse your boots.
Yeah. Yep. That's the step where you feel like you've actually accomplished something.
Yeah. Because phase 1, most of phase 1, you're running around with your camis and running shoes. Yeah, gunny shoes. Go fasters. Yeah. So you get your running shoes on, and you're not bloused. You look like a child, just running around the yard.
Essentially, yeah. You look like a child who's playing G.I. Joe, basically. Yeah,
and then like towards the end, and then phase 2, you get your boots, and you just can't blouse them. That's how everyone knows you're not phase 3. Right. Phase 3, you get to blouse them, and you're just like, you take so much pride. You do. In blousing your boots. Yeah. Something as simple as blousing your boots. Yeah. But it makes you you start looking like a Marine. Right. Yeah. But that's week 8 is phase 3, and it is BWT, Basic Warrior Training. Okay. Yep. So that's when you do like some of the survival combat, what do you call it? Courses where you're dragging through the sand and doing obstacle courses and all that with your gear, some bayonet stuff. Yep. I remember we had to sleep in hooches. And that's when you go do land nav. We did night land nav. Yep. You got a lot of team building exercises and stuff like that throughout the time. I remember we're doing night land nav. Didn't realize that drill instructors had MBGs. Yeah. And we were trying to cheat. Like, yo, what'd you get because there's like little ammo cans, and you got to navigate to them. There's certain numbers. Yeah. And there's multiple ammo cans, but your sheet has a specific answer key of what ammo cans you're supposed to go get. So you get taught how to do your little compass and all that. And then I got there and we were trying to freaking find the last one. We couldn't find this. We bumped into some other recruits. It's like groups of 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, what'd you get for so-and-so? Did you guys have this one? Like, yeah, blah, blah. They tell us, and then we saw a third person come out of the woods, our third group, what we thought was a group. It's like, hey, what'd you get? We just go over here, integrity violators. All right, tight. What's your names? Oh, this recruit's like, get out of my face. And we just run around, dude. I did not know. We sat there and listened to the whole conversation. I was like, damn, dude. I thought I was gonna get dropped. I thought I was gonna get kicked out. Nothing ever happened to that one. But that's when we learned basic formations, basic hand signals, stuff like that. And it's a fun time. I mean, I feel like that's what you joined to do.
Yeah.
Like that's what you expected to be doing most of the time, not drilling and
right. Yeah.
And
that's where you feel, you kind of feel like, okay, this is what I came here to do and learn, and then when you start learning those, certain, training exercises or courses or whatever it may be, you kind of feel like, okay, I'm accomplishing something at least, and not just getting yelled at the whole time,
right,
over something stupid.
Yeah, it's like playing Army, but like to the very next level,
right?
To a whole new where you have, like,
I mean, I didn't
courses.
think of it that way, but
I mean, that's just how I picture. That's the best way I can explain it to people that are listening or
because
watching.
I didn't know anything about reading the map or reading the compass.
Oh, dude, all that stuff was,
I mean,
when we got to the fleet and on deployment, everyone basically bought Garmin's,
Yes.
little Garmin watches that cost like $400.
Yeah.
And we had the map and stuff to rely on, but when you have, a whole platoon full of dudes with Garmin's on,
Yeah.
or the majority of us, if one fails, I mean, the other person, it's going to be catastrophic if all of them fail.
Right.
So, like, most time we didn't even use our maps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I was in charge of carrying the compass and map because I knew it pretty well when I got into the fleet. And so my squad leader at the time, he's the one who bought the Garmin's and stuff like that. So we went off of that, and I was just a backup.
Just in case.
Yeah.
Just a double
I've
check.
always had one.
So after week 8, you go through your basic warrior course. You go to week 9, which is testing. The recruits go through practical application evaluations, combat physical fitness test, and that's going to be your last PT.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you do a lot of your tests to test out. And to me, dude, the classroom portions, dude, oh man, I don't know if you remember.
Did you have a hard time with it, or
not the learning part?
Okay.
Staying awake.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, dude, so
It is
we were
it is
issued.
so boring.
We had to buy from the little PX because you get a little PX run every week, right? To buy a new shaving cream and all that. All the recruits go through it, whatever you need. It's a little PX run. It's like some little old ass building with the civilians there. Just what do you need? And they take it out of your pay whenever you don't. I thought they were free. I was like, why wouldn't the Marine Corps pay for this? I didn't know they were taking it out of my paycheck every week. And we had to buy. Dude, we had to have. I mean, there was a shit ton of us, and we had to have had at least 300 to 400 cans of shaving cream and razors that no one ever used, and like deodorant and all that that we never got to use really much either. But I remember we got hand sanitizer. You had to buy it to keep whatever.
Yeah.
So what did we do to stay awake?
You sniffed them?
We sniffed hand sanitizer. And I dude, and it burns your nostrils, wakes you up for a couple seconds, and you're sitting there listening to this guy talk or whoever's talking. You're like,
yeah.
And then you about to doze off again. Your buddy's like, yo, take a hit. And he gives you like, you wake up for another like 30 minutes, and then you're like, and then you do it again. And then I used to rub it underneath my lip. So because I kept falling asleep, dude. I was so tired.
It didn't burn?
Yeah, but it kept me awake. Because if you fell asleep, you got the damn kill hats in the back just
they took us out. If you got caught sleeping, they just took you out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, well, so they couldn't do it during the lecture.
No.
So, but they would come up to you and be like, you little bitch, you better wake up.
Yeah.
Your ass is mine on the break. And the break,
they took you out.
You tired, we're going to make it wake you up. Get good in the sandpit.
Yeah.
And that's what that did, man. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
To stay awake.
That portion for me was pretty easy since I already had prior experience from high school with the Marine Corps ROTC program.
Yeah,
so I
I
already
went to
knew everything they were teaching anyways, so it was kind of boring. And I did get, I was sleepy.
And you know this, but the whole reason I joined the Marine Corps is because I think, you went in and I just saw it.
Yeah.
And I remember, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
After seeing what the Corps has, you know, what it evolved you into and how cool it was. I mean, I think we just always had a thing for being the best.
Yeah.
And you went to the same high school.
Yep.
And you went through the same ROTC course, and that's what I went through.
Yeah.
Eventually, throughout, I guess, majority of mine, we had the same instructor in ROTC, which was Gunny.
Mm-hmm.
And good dude. But that's what kind of helped me too. That's how I got guide so quickly. I knew how to drill.
Yeah.
That's how, you know, I knew like who's the first female Marine, Ofa Mae Johnson, when's the birthday? I knew all that.
Yeah.
And who the like some of the other stuff that I don't remember now. It's like who the first whatever general was, or what was the first amphibious landing, like what was it, Triple E or something like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. History was never my thing. So,
Yeah.
but I did remember a lot of it from boot camp. So after you guys test out, you guys are going through your confidence course for the last time.
Mm-hmm.
And confidence course is a big obstacle course where there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of your confidence has to be built. I remember through one of the logs, through the 3 logs, we had to jump to and get on top of the next one and then jump to that one. It's like spaced out, and then it's a little bit higher each time.
Yeah.
The last one's like so spaced out, and it's like 12 feet off the deck.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like waiting in line, and I kept seeing people hit their chest, hit the last thing, hit their chest, and then fall back.
Well,
you know, get their breath knocked out. The drill sergeant's like, "Quit being a little girl, get up.
Yeah.
You're faking it." And I'm like, "Dude, just dropped 12 feet from it hit his chest. Like, wow, he's not faking this." And I was like, I remember I was scared, but I remember I was up the second one. I was like, "Fuck it, just jump." And I just jumped and I held on. I got over it. I remember I was like, "Yeah." I had to grab mulch. I was like, "Marine Corps." He's like, "Yeah, get out of my pit." I'm like, "Ah, sir."
I fell on the last one.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
You know, this is harder for the shorter people for sure.
Yeah.
Stairway to Heaven, the logs get, you know, that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
And then you have you have to do the line that's over the water.
Yeah.
From the top deck.
Yep.
I remember you had to go halfway through one way, one technique, and then you have to hang and switch the other way.
Yeah.
And I remember I got done with that one. I went halfway and I had to switch. I was sitting there hanging, and I was like, "Fuck, what do I do now?" Like, I can't remember the actual like technique. I was like, "Sir, this recruit," there's a drill sergeant sitting there watching. He's like, "Sir, this recruit came." He's like, you drop in the water. You don't remember, you nasty thing." And I'm like, "Sir, this recruit is not Marine." He's like, "Drop in the water." I was like, "I'm not dropping in this water." And I remember I was like, "Screw it." I just did whatever I could. What I thought was right, and I turned out to be right. I got down. He was like, "Pass, get out of my face." I was like, "Ah, sir," and ran away. What was the most challenging thing for you?
The most challenging ones was the Stairway to Heaven. So if you can imagine a basic telephone pole that you see outside that has the electrical wires on them, you know, they're about, I'll say about that thick and round, you know, and, you know, tall. So essentially they made a ladder, you could say, if you will, out of the telephone poles. And so the first one that you have to reach to is probably about my height. It's right about maybe about my face. Then you grab onto it and you gotta pull yourself up. You can either roll yourself up or underneath, and then it just keeps going up. But the higher you go up, the further apart. So by the time I got to the top one, I think it was about from my fingertips like this to the bottom of that pole is, I'll say, a good 12 to 15 inches. So the only way I could do it is by jumping up. But mind you, there's nothing down there to save you.
Well, there's 3 inches of tires.
Right.
3 inches of mulch tires.
Yeah,
that cut
mulch,
up.
that's about it. There's
3 inches.
There's no padding. There's no net.
And you're about as high as the top of a telephone pole.
Yeah.
If not.
Yeah, I don't even, I just know it was high.
That's why it's called the staircase to heaven.
Right.
Because if you fall, you're either going to heaven or hell.
So I'm sitting there and I'm shaking. Like, my legs are shaking. And I'm looking
I would have failed that one, dude. I would have took the L.
My legs are shaking. I'm looking at this damn bolt. They're like, "Hurry up, Yee.
I would have took
Get the fuck over that top." I just jumped. I went, wham. And I was like, okay, now I got to get over this bitch.
You just holding on to it like,
yeah.
Oh, I didn't expect this to happen. I thought I was going to fall.
Yeah, so now I'm pulling myself up. I get to the top, but I didn't go over yet because now I'm even more nervous because now I see everything. We don't have a harness on. There's nothing.
Which is wild.
And so I was like,
so
how am I going to get down now?
Yeah, because you just had to jump.
Yeah. So the biggest thing was just I kind of when I was on top of it because I was holding it like this on top. I was like, only thing I can do is just fall with it. So I just fell with it, and my foot couldn't reach because I'm short to the one below it.
Yeah.
Again, you're 12. I'm like 12 inches
Away, yeah.
away from the next one. So I was like, I'm just gonna let go. So I let go and grabbed the other one. I just fell on top of the other one, and that's how I did it until I could get to the one I could
You can
actually reach
touch.
to.
That's wild.
So that was probably the hardest one for me.
That's wild.
Yeah.
I didn't have that. I mean, I was taller, so it's not. I didn't have that problem. But I wouldn't say it still wasn't scary. Dude, did it build confidence?
No. No. No.
I was expecting you to say yeah.
No.
Did it build confidence?
No.
No, it didn't. Well, that's what it's supposed to do. Some of the stuff that some of the obstacles that you go through do actually build confidence, like certain things, which is pretty scary. Week 10 is when they earn the title Marine.
Yep.
It's going to be the Crucible. We're not going to get into too much about the Crucible because that's a sacred trade secret. Hell, there's YouTube videos about everything that you go through. But when I went in, I was like, I remember asking you, my own brother. I was like, yo, what's the Crucible about? You're like, you're going to have to find out for yourself.
Yep.
And I was like, damn, I'm scared.
Yeah.
My recruiter wouldn't tell me. He just told me, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. But it was a trade secret. So we're going to keep that tradition on the podcast.
Yeah.
If you guys want to know more about the Crucible, which is the culminating event, you can go on YouTube and look it all up. Well, we'll get into a little bit of it. I know you do like a bunch of hiking. It's 3 days. You get like 6 hours sleep total.
So it's total of 54 or 56 hours.
Yeah.
Of the whole Crucible. And then it's essentially everything that you've learned in the first 2 months, or really in the second month, is just all compact to that 54 hours of
There's
training.
a bunch of stuff that you do. You get 2 MREs total.
Yeah.
Which is the first time you actually see MREs.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
What is this? We couldn't heat up our food. Didn't have time for that.
No.
Rationed it.
I didn't even know how to do it because I didn't know what the hell MRE was at the time.
No.
Didn't know. They're like, just read it. And I ate mine cold.
Yeah, we had to.
Because we're in a hurry anyway.
We had to. I do remember, though, to stay awake, the guys that used to dip, because obviously you'd have no nicotine there, they would get the coffee grounds and put it on their lips.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
So they would do that, and they would give them caffeine because they'd swallow it.
Yeah.
Whatever. It tasted. I tried it. Tasted like dog crap.
Yeah.
So I did raisins. We had a pack of raisins on the MRE.
You
Tastes
did raisins?
I chewed it up and put it in my lip. And I can use every so often you get that little bit of you salivate a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like raisins.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, tight.
I mean, I was tired, but I wasn't to the point to where I was falling asleep because I was so worried about not passing this process. You know,
there's a lot of hiking though.
Yeah.
Denny, we talked about Denny earlier. He fell out.
Ooh.
And we ended up, because we wanted, I mean, it's a team effort.
Yeah.
And I ended up putting his pack on my back.
Yeah.
And then some other guys put their arm around him. The drill instructor found out and was like, let go of that little piece of shit.
Yeah.
Let him make him carry his own. I dropped the stuff. He went to medical. I think he got silver bulleted probably. And he still graduated though. A lot of recruits were. I mean, we were pretty pissed because he didn't really complete the whole Crucible. Yeah. But I guess whatever percentage you have to complete due to medical reasons or whatever, he completed. So we did get his equal. Looking back on it now, I'm like, whatever. Yeah. But at the time, we were pretty pissed. Like
we had one guy, I think it was in the second phase. He had shin splints from the beach runs and stuff that we had to do.
Yeah.
Or it wasn't on the beach, but you know the track that had sand, beach sand, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So it sucked for him because that was like phase 2, and he had to go get surgery on it, and he got dropped. So he had to go through the whole thing over. I don't know if he made it or not, but yeah, it sucks.
Do any of your guys? I've heard stories about people falling asleep while hiking.
Yeah, I was one of them on the return.
Really?
Yep. So on the return, I forgot how many miles. I think it's 12 miles or something on the way back.
It's the longest hike.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, so I on the way back, you got your last hike, and I had somebody tap me on the shoulder, say, you're falling behind. And so I didn't know I was probably a good 20 yards back
Yeah, that's a
and the whole
no-no.
time I was sleeping. I didn't even know.
I mean, they tell us to be nut to butt the whole time.
Yeah. Nut to butt. Yeah. Yeah.
That's just a saying the Marine Corps says, man.
AT&T.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Reach out and touch somebody. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, the funny ditties. Oh god.
Yeah.
We'll get into some funny stories at the end. But I remember we'll just go over the end now. For the Crucible, it's just you go for us. We were lined up in front of the like our Iwo Jima picture here. We were lined up in the big statue. And I remember our company first sergeant was like, "All right." And he said he had a speech, and he said something that I still remember today. He said, "Your thoughts become words, your words become actions, your actions become habits, and habits determine your destiny." And he said that in front of all of us. Till this day, I remember what that man said.
Yeah.
It's pretty deep.
That is deep.
It's literally like it's true.
Yeah.
Like if you start thinking negative, your words are gonna be negative.
Yep.
Your actions are gonna be negatives. You keep it up long enough, you're gonna be negatively habited, or your habits are gonna be negative.
Yeah.
And then your destiny is gonna be negative. But
Yeah.
if you preach and if you preach in a always positive and a good mood, whatever. I wouldn't say good mood is not positivity, but if you're always positive in the outlook or whatever, that's how your life's gonna be. So that stuck with me. And I remember getting my Globe and Anchor, and he was like, "Yee, I remember I got fired. Dang, we didn't even talk about the gas chamber yet. We'll get to it after this.
Yeah, we can go through it.
I remember getting my EGA, and he was like, "Yee." At this point, I wasn't guide anymore. I've been fired like 16 times.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You were a good guide, but since you had RTC, you're already going to be coming out as a PFC."
Yeah.
So one of the other guys, he was a good recruit too. He said his name, and I was like, "Yeah, I mean that makes sense." But because he got guide, he was now able to graduate as a PFC as well. And he didn't have that privilege. So that's who they ended up making guide towards the end, and then they let it stick with that. And he was like, "You were a good guy, blah blah, good Marine." And my senior drill instructor, it's like this dad talking to me. Started crying. I was like, "Thank you, sir." Blah blah blah. And I don't know what was your ceremony like?
It was good. At that point I was the company guide. So I've never gotten fired from a position, so I only got promoted, but yeah.
Fired me left and right.
So I went
fired, re-promoted, fired, re-promoted.
I went from scribe to the company guide. So I was kind of nervous with the company commander practicing for the ceremony.
Yeah.
But and it was windy it was cold and windy by the time I graduated. So, but yeah, I don't remember if we were at the Iwo Jima statue or not. But the only thing I do remember is them telling me that I was going to be a great Marine, and you did that. He told me I did pretty well, and he's like, you seem like you got enough from your background you need to be able to teach, and mentor these other recruits and stuff. But yeah, when he gave me that Eagle Globe and Anchor,
it's emotional, man.
It was done.
That's when you earned it.
I felt like a baby, but I didn't think about that. But I couldn't even speak. I was like,
you just went through, you just went through hell for the. I mean, for your average life, going through that, before knowing what we've been through after that, that's like the hardest thing you've ever done, to that point. And you're like, I did it. This is something that's not handed out. Yeah. It's earned, and I earned it. But it was definitely emotional time.
But the point where I knew that I became a Marine wasn't, the Eagle Globe and Anchor was a symbol of me becoming a Marine, and it was so emotional at the time, but it didn't hit me until walked through the chow hall and other recruits calling me sir. That's when I knew. I'm like, I'm a Marine. I'm a Marine.
I remember that feeling too. Like recruits, like two recruits on that was told to like late chow, early chow.
Yeah.
And we were actually just walking to chow.
Yeah.
And we got to go one day. We got to go to the normal chow hall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like cool. Yeah. And then you have those two recruits just running. Yeah. Good morning, sir. Good morning, gentlemen. And we're like, that's right, bitch. That's right.
Yeah.
Nasty little thing.
Yeah.
Disgusting little recruit. But then you go in your Warriors breakfast. We won't talk about that either.
No.
It's going to be, once you get to that spot, it's a good time, guys.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah, I don't
it
want to
kinda-
spoil everything. You know,
Yeah.
the experience is the biggest thing. You know, for me it was. You know, and I'm glad that I didn't tell you nothing because I wanted
I
you
am
to.
too.
I wanted you to experience
I am too.
the whole process of what it's like and what you have to go through, the good, the bad, the privilege of that basically the last supper. You know, essentially after going through the crucible and stuff. It's a good feeling
Because your drill instructors are there,
Yeah,
but they're no longer your drill instructors.
right.
You know,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
Just experience.
You get that respect.
You're gonna-
They know that you made it, and then vice versa. You don't. They're not screaming at you, anymore.
You're
They're
humans.
talking to you.
You're a Marine.
As a Marine,
Yeah,
So
it's a very good moment. And guys, like, again, it's an experience you're gonna want to experience. I promise you. So we'll just leave it at that for that one.
yeah.
The next ones are Family Week and then graduation.
So Family Week. I don't know if me personally. I think I just told them. So I don't remember if Mom and Dad. If we did anything for Family Week. I think they just came to graduation. For me.
Because I was there.
Yeah, it was you, Grandma.
No. Did we not? Because I remember seeing the barracks. And that's when you would see the barracks as Family Week.
I don't remember. I thought y'all just came to graduation.
I
Because
remember
Dad's schedule and stuff, it was tough to get.
Yeah. Well, I remember, you guys came.
Yep.
You guys brought, what do you call it? Cream barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah. We brought a little Korean stove, cream barbecue.
Yeah, that was Dad's idea.
I mean, we're Korean, so it was delicious, actually.
Because he didn't know what to do the first time. So now he understood with you.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you know what? We're going to have Korean barbecue because I'm pretty sure they didn't get fed.
He's going to want it. I remember then you do your motivational run and all that.
Yeah.
And I remember Mom started crying.
Yeah. So, yeah.
For not because she saw her baby boy, which probably did cry then too, but for different reasons. So, but you were there because you came to my graduation, so I'll let you explain that.
So, of course, during my time, they didn't know what to expect. That was their first time, going through that process. But now Mom knew what to expect with you. So she, like moms do, they buy everything from pictures to photos and big ass banners for you. I didn't get nothing, but you got a big ass banner with your graduation picture, your dress blues and everything. I can't remember what it said, Paris Holland or something like that. But anyways, we had to get there really early. They told us, and the sun, before even the sun came up, we had to go to find this building. We went to that building. There was a long line. By the time we got up to the counter, they're like, all right, what's your recruit's name? She said, Alan Yee. So they went, got it, came back, and we unfolded this banner. I could see your face because we rolled it this way. And I could see the picture go up, and I was like, dang, he lost a lot of weight, in my head.
Yeah.
And
of
then
course.
I rolled it all about halfway. Mom stopped me, and she's like, that's not my son. I said, Mom, that's him.
That's Alan.
She's like, no, that's not him. I said, yes, it is. And then she just started bawling. She's like, that's not my son. I said, Mom, that's Alan. He just lost a lot of damn weight. That's him. And the lady behind the counter was like, ma'am, we got some other people to get.
Mom, she's always over the top, dramatic. Yeah, I thought when you told me, I thought that was pretty funny because I did lose a lot of weight. I mean, it's boot camp, of course you did.
Yeah.
I remember seeing you guys with the poster while I ran for our motivational run.
Okay.
Waving and all that.
Yeah.
I remember showing you guys the barracks, and JR was there, our cousin.
Yep, JR was there, yeah.
Which I was surprised to see JR there. I was like,
I don't remember. I think he just invited himself.
I mean, it's fine. It's not a big deal.
I was like, yeah, what are y'all doing? I was
It's
like,
an
we're going to
experience.
his graduation.
I'm coming.
I was like,
I mean, it's an experience.
yeah, yeah.
Not everyone gets to see what Paris Island's like over than the videos. To actually be there is a little different.
Yeah.
But then you go to graduation, and that's when everything's done after that.
Yeah.
And
Y'all did y'all's in a hangar or something like that, right?
Family Week was in a hangar.
Okay.
That's when we got dismissed. These new Marines will now be joined with their family. They're like Fallout, and then all the graduations on the parade deck, just like everyone else. Right.
That's the first time I saw Dad cry.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, so the first time I saw Dad cry ever
Your
when I was a kid
graduation.
was yours.
Oh, really?
Your motivational run.
Oh,
He started crying because I remember I looked up, and it's always weird to see Dad cry.
it does. Yeah.
But that was my first time. I was like, "Oh, Dad's human."
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. I know.
I remember. I mean, it's got to be a proud moment, Especially
of course.
you were the first. And I remember looking up at him after you had ran by, because whenever you ran by, what I remember vaguely is you were waving at us, you saw us, and you almost tripped because the guys in front of you's feet, you weren't paying attention to the person in front of you because we're so close in formation.
I don't remember that.
I remember you were like, you kind of like a little tripped and you put your hand up on his back. It's like, oh, like my bad.
Yeah.
And I remember looking up at Dad after you passed by because I was really young.
Yeah.
I mean, we're 9 years apart.
Yeah.
But I was really young, and I was like, I saw Dad crying. I was like, started crying, as a kid. I'm like, all right, Dad's crying. I guess I should cry.
Yeah.
Like, I was really young. I didn't understand everything that was going on. But I remember, I was like, dang, it's my brother. I'm proud.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now that's your full boot camp. We'll go into we'll keep it kind of short, guys, but as we wrap the episode up, but we'll go into some funny stories.
Yeah.
I remember going back to the gas chamber. So we did the gas chamber. I remember we had to put the seal, whatever. And I remember how bad OC sucks. To this day, I mean, going through like being a police officer and going through SWAT tryouts and, going through SWAT school and all that other stuff, you have to get OC because that's one of the methods to getting people out of the house. So you're getting, the OC, not the spray, but the gas.
Yeah.
Same stuff we use in the Marine Corps. If not, Marine Corps is more pungent probably. I remember we're sitting there in line, and I was like, dude, I'm about to run out of this place. And they tell you before, when the drill instructor's in there, don't run out. It's a safety hazard. There's like looks like a Breaking Bad chemist in the middle with an ammo can cooking something up, and it starts spraying out gas. And they're like, don't run, because if you knock it over, it's a safety hazard, whatever. If you do run, we will camp. They didn't say they would do like what they would do. They just said you will be taken care of.
Yeah.
So we thought, okay, you might just get whatever. You might get IT, it'd be fine. Well, one kid decided to try to run out, and they tackled his ass. 3 drill instructors tackled him, and his gas mask fell off. And I saw that, and I saw the pain that hit kid was in, because now there's like you can't get rid of the gas.
Yeah.
The gas mask is off, and there's 3 drill instructors on top of you holding you down.
Yeah.
I was like, yep, that's worse.
Yeah.
That's way worse. I'm not running out.
Yeah.
Cool. I was a guide at this point. My senior drill instructor comes in. We're about to leave. I get out, and he's like, yeah, come here. It's like, good to go. Well, sir, well, that's good to go. I was like, yes, sir. Who ran out? I was like, sir, the recruit so-and-so, sir.
Yeah.
He's like, that's your fucking fault. My head, I'm like, how the fuck is it my fault? He's like, guess what you're going to do? Stand inside. I stood in there. I had to do it a total of 6 times.
Damn. Damn.
6 times.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there next to the stupid chemist.
Oh, okay.
Just on that wall right there beside him. So I'm getting all the effects. I have to break the seal, do it all over again for 6 times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, how the fuck is this my fault? I'm not the one that ran out.
Yeah.
Like, but I piss poor. I mean, he just had to find a reason to fire me just because it wasn't my fault, but whatever.
Yeah.
And I get out, he's like, you're fired. Next week, that other guy sucks. You're hired. I'm like, oh, all right. But that's the gas chamber. You're no longer sick after the gas chamber either.
No.
Everyone gets sick. Everyone got sick in my platoon, my company. Everyone got sick at the same time.
Well, when did you go in? It's the season?
January.
Okay.
January 14th is when the first day I arrived.
So mine was in November. Sometime in November, I think. And that was probably before going into boot camp, that was probably the only thing that was on my mind that I was scared of. Was the gas chamber.
I didn't even realize we were doing the gas chamber until I got there. I never forgot about it. And I was like, oh shit, yeah.
Didn't your recruiter give you a video?
No.
No? Oh, I got one. It was in a cassette. A VHS.
That's how you know how old
VHS. A VHS video.
A VHS video.
Yeah.
Lord.
So and I saw that and I was like, everything else was fine. When I saw the gas chamber, that was probably the only thing I was scared of. But when I got there, it wasn't that bad to me. And then we had a crazy ass drill instructor sitting there without a mask, screaming directions.
Some people are immune to it.
I was like, what is going on with this guy?
Some people are really immune to it. I hate gas.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if I'm ever a felon or whatever, and I'm away from the SWAT, I told him, I was like, threaten me with gas or threaten to send the dog.
Yeah.
I've seen both happen in real life, and they got it.
Yeah.
I'm coming out.
Yeah.
Nor, I mean, I'm not saying I would ever be that person where I have to get the SWAT team to come raid my house.
Yeah.
But the only reason I wouldn't come out from a OC or from gas is if I have my own gas mask, which I have plenty.
Yeah.
But that's the only reason. At that point, I know it's just going to burn and suck. I can take it, but or that dog, I know I can shoot that dog with a shotgun and be done. But the dude, you've seen some of the, I've told you some of the stories about policing and all that, and the dog bites and how, dude.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, man. And then I remember my kill hat was named Sergeant Franklin. That was his kill. That was my kill hat. Short black dude, and he would make me bend down to talk to him. Because he was like, you think you're better than me because you're taller? Get down here. So I had to sit there and like be in this awkward, weird position while he yelled at me.
Yeah.
And I remember after I got fired from guide, the guide's bunks at the front always. So if you get fired, you got to take all your crap. I got to sit next to one of my boys. His name was Colin. Another short, about the same height as him, as the kill hat. And he was a black dude, and we got along great, dude. We were just like. He was like, dude, this is bullshit. I was like, after I got fired, I was like, yeah, fuck this, dude. I was like, yeah, we'll just try to, get through this. And I'm not going to go above and beyond throughout boot camp. And then eventually after that day, it probably, I got my motivation back, kept doing it. But I remember he was my bunk mate. He was on top. I was on the bottom. I remember he got taken out to the sand pits by Sergeant Franklin. For some reason, Sergeant Franklin loved Collins. That was my bunk mate's name, Collins. He loved him. And so he left. We're doing drill. He left. He came back covered in sand, like sugar cookied.
Yes.
And I was like, I remember he's breathing her. Get back in line. I didn't see the drill instructor come in behind him. I was like, dude, what happened? He's like, dude, he told me to make sandcastles all day, dude. I was like, damn, dude. And the drill instructor finally came in with 2 ammo cans. Gone right to our rack. And again, he's on the top rack.
Yeah.
So right below his rack is my rack.
Yeah.
And he was like, Collins, yes, sir. You like the beach? Yes, sir. Good. Dumped both ammo cans full of sand on his rack.
Damn.
Made him get on top of the rack. Said, play in the sand. Play on the beach. He's sitting there flopping around like a fish on top of his rack. He's like, get down, clean it up. My rack's covered in sand now. He had to put all his ammo can stuff back. The drill instructor is yelling at the other drill instructor. We're trying to drill. Get the bucket back in the house. Blah, blah, blah. Clean that shit up. And I was like, fuck, dude.
Yeah.
And then
all hell broke loose
on one of the hikes, dude. Full pack. All I hear is Collins, and Collins is right next to or right behind me because we're in the same squad. And I look over and I see Sergeant Franklin moonwalking, and he's like, "Collins, make the noise!" And he's like, "Hi, sir." And then Collins did the same thing. He's like, drill instructor was like, "Hey," and he's sitting there moonwalking, and the other drill instructor starts yelling at him, "Drill instructor, get them!" The other kid recruit's falling behind. Yeah. He's like, "I'll be back." He runs away and starts yelling at that guy. And I was like, dude, this dude's moonwalking while we're sitting here gassed during this hike with all his packs on. And so I was like, dude, these guys are built different.
I wonder if they had anything.
Dude, no. I don't believe it. I believe it's pillows.
I have a feeling that's all it was.
I believe it was like pillows and maybe like some of your basic.
Because they weren't even.
I don't know. We had a pretty. It was I don't know if it was company guns.
I'm sure they don't want.
It was a company guns.
Give away their secrets
because the company first sergeant's one that gave me the thing, but the company guns. He was a stickler, dude. I remember him chewing out a drill instructor in front of all of us.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You have any other funny stories?
Yeah, the funny story with me, I mean, there was a couple that I do remember. We're doing cleaning the squad base, and you remember those scrub brushes that you had to sweep the squad bays with. You know, they're about that big. Essentially, it looks like a boot brush that clean your boots with when you're polishing them back in the day. That's what we had to clean our squad bays with. So you had to get up on line. You had to get in your duck walk position, and then you had to say some kind of ditty or cadence. I can't remember.
Scuzz brush online, I sir. And then he would say scuzz, and you say scuzz, I sir. Or something like
you had to do it, but you had to do it like in a cadence, and then you had to bang it. I can't. remember.
Yeah. One of the ones I remember was it was like he was like ready, bang, 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 ready, bang, bang, bang.
Yeah,
33 hits. Move, and you have to go bang, kill. And then you have to go and run to wherever you're doing.
Right.
He would say, it was scuzz brushes away. bang, bang, bang. Squad bursters away. Bang, bang, bang. Ready, bang, move, kill. And then you had to run and go. That was our duty.
Okay.
There was other ones that other drill instructors had their own, unique
Right.
thing.
But
Sorry.
So no, you're good. Then after that, you had to mop. After you done got up all the dirt, you had to mop. But you didn't mop with a mop. You mopped with the little towel.
Yep.
You got that wet. So somebody at the time, you're doing the cleaning. There was no talking. So somebody made some noise. I can't remember the guy's name. But anyways, the drill instructor called him, told him to get up on the middle. He said, "All right, so you want to be, you want to be, speaking or talking or whatever it was at the time." So he said, he made him get in the middle of the squad bay, and he had a little squirt bottle, and he's like, "Come on, let's go." And he'll spray it, and he say beep beep. And the guy was like, beep beep. He said, "Louder, beep beep." And he went all the way up and down the squad bay saying beep beep. Beep. And that was probably one of the funniest things that I saw for the first time while we were cleaning. The second time was with me while we're standing there.
You told me about this.
Getting our haircuts. And so, you're standing in line, you're waiting for the platoon in front of you or whoever it was in front of you to get done. You're all in line, nut to butt, and you're looking straight ahead. And they made you get so close, they told you your nose better be touching the back of that person's head.
Yeah.
So you're literally nut to butt. Like, you can feel the dude behind you. And so they're, spitting knowledge or whatever. And while I'm looking straight ahead, there's other drill instructors with your drill instructors, kill hats and stuff. They're talking. So while I'm looking straight ahead, at attention, and we're screaming knowledge, I do that real quick. Just look over. And somehow he caught me, the other drill instructor.
It's wild, dude.
I don't know how.
Their attention to detail is crazy.
It was ridiculous. And he's like, "Hey, you, come over here." And I'm looking still straight ahead. I'm acting like he didn't see me.
Maybe if I don't move, he won't notice I'm here.
Basically, So I'm like, I was looking dead straight ahead. He's like, "Motherfucker, if I gotta come over there and grab you, you're gonna be done. Get the fuck over here." And I go, he's like, "Yeah, you know. Come here." So I was like, "Shit."
Nasty.
He's like, "Run." And so I'm running over there. I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Why the fuck are you looking at me?" I said, "No reason, sir." He's like, "Do I owe you money?" I said, "No, sir." He's like, "Did you fuck my wife?" I said, "No, sir." He said, "Well, why the hell are you looking at me?" I said, "No reason, sir." He said, "All right, you know what? You see that pigeon? I want you to go catch that pigeon." I said, "Sir?" He said, "I didn't hesitate. Go get that pigeon." So I took off running at this parking lot area while we're standing and waiting. I took off running to try to catch this pigeon. And you would figure the pigeon would take off running. So I thought he was part of it. This damn pigeon is just hopping around the parking lot, and I'm trying to catch a pigeon. And my senior comes out. He's like, "Yee, what the hell are you doing out of line?" I said, "I'm catching a pigeon, sir." He said, "Get back in line." So I run back to the line. The other instructor was like, "Did I tell you to stop catching the pigeon? Go get the pigeon." I said, "Aye, sir." And I run back. My senior's like, "Get the back in line." I said, "Aye, sir." So that was probably the funniest thing that I had. It wasn't funny to me. Yeah. I'm sure it was funny to everybody else watching me try to catch a pigeon.
Trying to catch a pigeon is pretty creative. Not listening to other drill instructors. That's another thing that we were told. I remember a drill instructor from a different company or a different platoon came down. We were doing something. We were all gaggled in the squad bay or in the barracks, doing something inside, and he come through, and no one moved for him. Do you know the first thing they say is one arm distance for your safety and mine? More for your safety, bitch.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right. Well, no one really moved, and he was like, "Oh, tight." And he went back and he started running. And like, I was running, but he was like moving quick, and he was like, he reminded us one arm distance. So this time we were going to move, and he put his hand out and he stopped, and everyone spread the sea, and he was like, "Moses, bitch." And he walked through, and he was like, "Yeah," and he walked out. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
I did have one more where we're cleaning our rifles, and then because the barracks, there was 3 levels,
3 decks,
yeah, 3 decks of it. Another while we were cleaning our rifles on top of our footlockers, another drill instructor from a different platoon came down, and while we're sitting there cleaning, I heard the door open, and then all I see is that drill instructor run down our squad bay with our guide on, like, And he went all the way down to the other end of the squad bag. He jumped and kicked the door and then ran out. And then our kill hat comes out. I was like, oh, nobody's going to get the guide on. Everybody's just going to look at him get the guide on. Nobody's getting the guide on. So we all got up. He's like, no. Y'all sit back down. Sit back down. Clean down rifle. And then he comes back through that same door. He's like, yeah. Y'all mine now. Y'all mine. He puts the guide on back. He's like, I'll see y'all later.
Just walked off.
I was like, what is going on?
They had to coordinate some funny shit. Like, I bet you they won't let me steal your guide arm. And he's like, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I remember we were cleaning our rifles for team week. We were left in the barracks. We didn't have a assigned duty spot. Sitting there cleaning, and our knowledge hat comes up to this guy. One of the recruits' name was Jared. He's like, Jared, that was his favorite recruit. Like, Franklin was the call him. Jared was because Jared kept messing up everything.
Yeah.
Every now and then, or just being a goofball.
Yeah.
And he didn't like it. So that was his recruit. So he made him scrub the rifle with the brush. So hold the rifle at the tip and then hold the brush still and scrub the rifle.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, it's heavy as hell.
Yeah.
And then after he was done, he was like, all right, Jared, brush your teeth. Recruit was like, sir? I just brush your teeth. And I was like, and I'm on the same little wall locker mound that we have all over our rifle. Yeah. I'm sitting there. I was like, in my head, I'm like, is he really gonna brush his teeth with that thing? And he goes real slowly. And he puts it in his mouth. I see the Jones try to look down, smirk real quick. He gets his bearing back after a few seconds. He's like, you dumbass, put that out of your mouth. Jared starts laughing. He puts it out and he walks off. I was like, yeah, he was really messing with us then. Yeah. And then, the shower time. Showers are not real showers. We're naked. There's 2 recruits. One with shampoo, one with soap. Hold both hands out. As you go by, you get squirt a little bit of shampoo, a little bit of whatever, and then the big little room about the size of this one has a bunch of shower heads on it.
Yep.
And we're sitting there nut butt naked, and we have to go
naked.
We have to go through the shower. And we're jumping around, and then after the last recruit goes out, because you can't run, but you're speed walking underneath this water, you're all soapy still. Yeah, we had to get online for senior drill instructor inspection. Inspect your hygiene. And I remember one of the recruits was late, and he was. I don't know why, but it was another short black, but stocky black dude, like yoked. Yeah, he was real short too. And he was running, and the flip flops that you get issued are just like 99-cent shower shoes.
Shower shoes.
They're always broken, so little things slaps off. You can't buy more. You have to just go with it. Yeah. I remember he's late to get online. He's running down and he falls because he just has his towel on him, and he has his little hygiene bag. He's running. Yeah. And he falls and slips, and the towel comes out. Every bit of him just going down the squad bay, and there's like. Put that thing away. He's like, get online. He got online and he was serious. He was like, oh shit, there. He started laughing. Everyone else started laughing. And he was like, shut up. Get ready for inspection. I'm like, sorry. But yeah, it was so funny, man. I remember I tried to outrun my kill hat when he was ITing me and Collins. Mm-hmm. I was like, dude, I told Collins while we're sitting there doing it. He's sitting there screaming. I was like, Collins out. He was like, get up. We had to run from sand pit to sand pit. Yeah. It was called the
Island hopping.
Yeah. The Daytona 300 or whatever. Yeah. Just doing it around. I remember I was running behind. I was like, Collins, the next one we stop at, I'm gonna run past him. He was like, dude, we're gonna get messed up anymore. I was like, I don't care anymor. I was like, we're gonna get messed up either way. Yeah. I was like, I'm just gonna do it. He was like, all right, I'm with you. So I remember he started running, and because I'm way taller than this guy now, and I lost a little weight, and I was like, all right, my mom was saying my whole goal for right now is just to beat this drill instructor. Yeah. I run past him, and I just hear this pterodactyl screech. I run past him, he's like, ah! He's like, yeah, get back. And we go back to the sand pit. I was like, sir. And I run past him again. He's like, get back. He's like, you think you're run faster than me? He's like, run that way. No, run. I mean, now he's got me sprinting, just standing still. Yeah. And as I'm getting tired, he's like, all right, let's go. No, I was like, all right, my bad, dog. I shouldn't have ran past you. Yeah. But it was good times. But yeah, this is the first episode. So got some funny stories. We got the majority of, not everything, but we got the gist of it. Some of our stories, what we went through. Yeah. You got any last minute advice for those watching and listening?
Yeah. Biggest thing is if you do try it out, it's all in your head, you know, and you put everything you got into it. It's pretty tough, you know, for those who's never been through anything like that, you know, and you know, you just gonna have to grind out, you know what I mean? Like you just gonna have to push through it, and it'll be over before you know it. You know, after getting out, when I got out, I was like, that was the easiest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, after going through what we went through in the fleet, some of the ranges, some of the deployments, like, yeah, that's
yeah. Boot camp was nothing.
Depending on your job, you know.
Yeah.
Not knocking anybody else's job, you know. If you're supply, whatever, we love you. If you're motor T, whatever, it's fine. I'm with it. But it's like when you're infantry, it's a little different. We're just got the same goal, but it's just a little different walk of the Marine Corps career than everything else. So
yeah,
I would say yes. After going through everything else, Marine Corps boot camp was probably the easiest thing.
Yeah,
but I would never want to do it again because I just don't want to be a recruit again.
No,
that's the only thing. It's just annoying at that point. It's not that it's hard; it's just stupid.
Yeah.
After you don't have the training, it's like it's dumb. I know what the Marine Corps is probably trying. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
My biggest advice would be just, get your run time up, crunches, your pull ups, and like you said, man, just it's gonna be a positive. Just be positive. It's gonna be tough. You know that.
Yeah.
But once you earn it, till this day,
well worth it.
Till this day, Marines with hats on.
Yeah.
They see me. If they see my bracelet or whatever, they know my tattoos. They're like, oh, rah.
Yeah.
Some old guy from Vietnam's like, you a Marine? Me too. Back in, he has this little Vietnam hat on.
Yeah.
And it's just like a brotherhood that just never goes away. Multiple people that, went through the same thing. Everyone goes through boot camp, so you at least have something in common with them.
Yeah, no matter what career path you take in the Marine Corps, everybody goes through their basic boot camp training, and your next stage is combat training. Everybody goes through that basic part, but yeah.
The saying of they can never take that away from you is true.
Yeah.
The title is earned, and once you get the title, no one can ever strip you from it. So that's a real thing. So, but that is the end of this episode, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. If you're listening on other platforms, we appreciate you. We would really appreciate it if you guys give us a like, hit the notification bell, subscribe. Leave us a comment, what we can do better. Give us some criticism.
Yeah.
And we just really appreciate you guys listening. We're going to have, on the next few episodes here in the future, we're going to have merch. We're going to have shirts and stuff like that. Once we start growing, we'll have more merch to produce online and whatnot. And hopefully you guys, come out and support, be a part of the E4 Mafia Podcast and the E4 Mafia movement. Just because you're not an E4 or whatever the case is, you got out as different does not mean what this podcast is about.
Yeah.
It's for everyone that's serving. It's for, if you enjoy our videos, it's just more of a more grittier, just like our intro said, real stories, real talk, that other people just sometimes don't talk about.
Yeah.
So, again,
also, I want to go ahead and, for those Marines out there that's still in or out, leave in the comments something funny or anything that's probably the most memorable thing you had that happened to you during boot camp.
Yeah, comment your funny stories. That's always a good thing.
I would like to read those.
I would, yeah. And what you guys thought were memorable for sure. But that's the first episode. Again, I'm Alan.
And I'm Mike.
We appreciate you guys watching, and have a good day.
Yep.